Hello to all Cinemaster lovers. Myths exist across all nations and cultures. Some of them make sense, while others, no matter how hard you try to believe, logic dismisses any reasons or possibilities for their existence. There are many myths that have led to the rise of empires and civilizations, while others have caused the destruction of entire kingdoms. But one myth stands out among all others in time and space. The movie Knights of the Zodiac begins by telling the story of a young, unsuccessful man who discovers that he is a legendary knight tasked with protecting a young girl who possesses unmatched power and energy. The film starts with an ancient legend, one passed down among the people, about the kings who decided to attack humans to annihilate them. But Athena, the goddess of war and wisdom, made a decision contrary to the other kings. She decided to protect humans and defend them against the king's invasion. After a great war between them, Athena eventually succeeded in subduing the kings and defeating them. However, since that time, she disappeared, and no one knew what happened to her. Years later, Athena reappeared, but she was a young girl dressed in royal garments. When the kings learned of Athena's return, they decided to invade Earth again to kill her and carry out their old plan. But Athena wasn't alone, because the Knights of the Cosmos suddenly appeared, determined to protect her from death and defend Earth against the king's attack. They drew their immense power from the stars, and one of the knights, known as the Golden Knight, succeeded in saving Athena and brought her down to Earth, protecting her from any harm. In the present day, a young man named Seiya. Seiya was sitting in a fight club, reminiscing about his past with his sister, Patricia. Patricia was his older sister and used to teach him martial arts so he could protect himself from any danger. During one training session, Seiya touched his sister's necklace, and suddenly, a powerful energy and strange light emerged from it. His thoughts were interrupted by Cassios, the club owner, who asked Seiya to prepare for his upcoming fight. When the time for the fight came, Seiya entered the ring, but the opponent he was about to face was very strong, nearly twice his size. Despite the opponent's strength, he couldn't land any blows on Seiya because of Seiya's incredible speed in dodging every attack. However, the problem was that Seiya wasn't striking back. He was only avoiding the hits. The audience was getting impatient. They wanted a fight with blood, and they were not pleased with Seiya's continuous evasion. Cassios decided to step into the ring himself to make the match more exciting, which thrilled the audience. With just one strike, Cassios knocked the opponent out of the ring and then turned his attention to Seiya. Seiya couldn't evade Cassios' attacks because Cassios was both fast and powerful. He overwhelmed Seiya and was about to finish him off when suddenly a tremendous energy burst out of Seiya's body, hurling Cassios away from the ring. Afterward, Seiya got up, ran out of the ring, and didn't continue the fight. There was a man in the audience named Alman who witnessed what happened and was very pleased, focusing intently on Seiya. Alman quickly rushed to Seiya's room in the fight club, where Seiya was packing his things to leave the place. Alman's assistant, named Docrates, approached Seiya and told him that someone wanted to meet him. This person knew that Seiya was searching for his sister, so it would be in his best interest to come along. Seiya was shocked by what Docrates said and agreed to go with him to meet Alman. Meanwhile, Cassios called someone and informed him that they had spotted one of the Cosmos Knights. Alman then informed Seiya that he had two choices: either stay there and wait for the Drat warriors, who were hunting down the Cosmos Knights, to capture him, or leave with Alman immediately. The Drat warriors were also, incidentally, connected to Alman's ex-wife. As soon as Alman finished speaking, a large number of Drat warriors arrived. Seiya fled with Alman while Docrates tried to hold the warriors back. Unfortunately, they overpowered him and made him regret ever thinking of challenging them, ultimately killing him. The warriors began pursuing Seiya and Alman, but Mylok, Alman's assistant and guardian, appeared to help. He tried to hold the warriors back using the weapon he had with him and managed to escape with Alman and Seiya in a car. However, a plane appeared above them and started raining bullets and arrows down on them. Despite this, Mylok managed to drive them into a tunnel where they stopped. Seiya, confused and scared, asked them who they were, what was happening, where his sister was, and what they were up to. Overwhelmed by Seiya's barrage of questions, Mylok injected him with a sedative, causing Seiya to lose consciousness. He starts recalling moments with his sister Patricia again, especially the day he lost her. At that time, there was an attack on their house. Patricia hid Seiya in a closet to keep him safe. Soon after, the Drat warriors arrived with Drat herself, who captured Patricia because she was one of the Cosmos Knights. Seiya woke up startled and found himself on a plane with Alman and Mylok. He was confused, unable to understand what was happening or grasp what was going on around him. Alman then started explaining to him, saying, "Look, I'm protecting you before you fall into Drat's hands. She drains all the energy from young people like you and leaves them as nothing but skin and bones. A long time ago, There was a queen named Athena, who possessed the powers of wisdom and war. The Cosmos Knights helped her and stood by her side against the kings in her war. You are one of those knights, destined to protect Queen Athena in the coming days. Your true name is the Pegasus Knight. Your sister knew this, which is why she protected you from any danger. That's also why she surrendered to Drat, to keep you safe. At this moment, a girl named Athena appears. The Queen Athena, after she has grown up, she gives Seiya the box containing his sister's necklace, from which he will draw his power. To properly harness this power, Seiya must train under the Silver Knight Marine. This training will also help him obtain the Pegasus armor, which will increase his strength. Once he becomes strong enough, he will be able to protect Athena and also rescue his sister Patricia. Drat arrives at Cassios's fight club and scolds him for failing to capture Seiya. She reminds him that the club was set up to help capture the Cosmos Knights, and she decides to shut it down after his failure to apprehend Seiya and reclaim the power he possesses. However, Cassios refuses to close the club and assures her that he will do whatever it takes to catch Seiya. To prove his competence, he takes on her guards and shows them how it's done. Impressed by his strength, Drat decides to keep the club open but takes Cassios with her to perform some experiments on him to enhance his strength and equip him with armor and weapons like her guards. The next day, Athena sits down to have breakfast with Seiya, but during the meal, she loses control over her powers, unleashing a massive burst of energy. Almond quickly deploys several shields around the castle to contain Athena's energy and calm her down. Once she feels better, Athena takes Seiya for a walk and shares her story with him. She tells him that a long time ago, the Golden Knight saved her, and then both Drat and Almond found her. However, Drat was greedy and exploited the Golden Knight's armor to enhance her technology, creating an army to control everything. Almond raised and protected Athena all this time, keeping her safe until now. Meanwhile, Drat drains the energy and power from one of the Cosmos Knights to heal her injured arm. She orders Nero to find Athena as quickly as possible before her power fully develops and overwhelms Drat. Nero reassures her that he has captured Docrates, Almond's assistant, and that they will soon find out where Athena and the others are hiding. After that, Mylok decides to take Seiya with him to meet the Silver Knight, who will train him to harness his power. They arrive at an island, and Mylok instructs Seiya to climb the mountains to reach the Silver Knight. When Seiya finally reaches the top, he is surprised to see that the Silver Knight is actually a woman, Marin. She begins training him and asks him to break a rock, but he fails. Marin explains to him that, like the other Cosmos Knights, he has the energy of the stars within him, and he needs to harness that energy to become strong. Seiya tries to concentrate and summon his power, but instead, he sees visions of his sister Patricia, which distracts him, and he fails again. Marin advises him to clear his mind and remove all distractions so he can learn to control his power. She then engages him in combat, training him in various fighting techniques so he won't be weak in the world of legends and waste his gift. However, Seiya is still too weak and can't fully access the power within him. Marin easily overpowers him, throwing him left and right. She emphasizes once again that he must rid himself of all negative emotions and the memories that cause him turmoil and crises if he wants to access his true power. Only then will he be worthy of the Pegasus armor, as the armor doesn't accept the weak. At that time, Athena was having a dream where she once again transformed into her true self, Athena, and was destroying the entire world, unable to control the immense power within her. However, in the dream, Almond appeared to comfort her, reassuring her that he was by her side. The next day, Seiya's progress showed significant improvement from the previous day. He managed to control his power successfully and shattered the stone with a single punch. Marin was pleased with his progress and the advancement he made in such a short time. Meanwhile, Nero was torturing Docrates, trying to force him to reveal Athena's location. Despite the pain, Docrates refused to speak. Nero then placed his hand on Docrates' forehead, penetrating his mind, and made him hallucinate a giant, terrifying monster chasing him. Docrates, overwhelmed by the terror, begged Nero to make the monster disappear, but Nero refused and explained that if Docrates didn't talk, he would let him endure this pain and face his worst fears until he died of fright. The next day, Marin brought a large rock in front of Seiya and asked him to destroy it. Seiya managed to gather his strength and shattered the rock with a single blow. As he did so, his chain began to glow and transformed into a large mythical horse. The horse then broke apart and turned into armor that Seiya wore. However, Seiya couldn't bear the pain in his head and had a vision where he saw that Almond was with Gurad when they took his sister Patricia. Seiya realized that Almond had deceived him into thinking he didn't know where his sister was. Seiya's focus wavered, and the armor reverted back to the chain. He lost all his newfound power because he wasn't concentrating well. He then demanded that Marin take him back to the castle immediately to confront Almond, but she refused. Seiya was adamant and told her to either take him back or end his misery. Finally, Marin agreed to take him back. When Seiya returned, he was furious and stormed in, attacking everyone in his path. He might have seriously injured someone if Athena hadn't arrived in time to calm him down. She took him outside for a walk to help him relax. Athena then started to explain the situation to him. She said, "Yes, Almond participated in the kidnapping of your sister Patricia, but he did it for me, to save me. When I was a child, I couldn't control my power, and as a result, Gurad was injured, losing her hands. To survive, she used the power of the Golden Knight, and that's why Gurad is still alive," she continues. "Since then, Gurad has needed the power of the stars to live, which is why I kidnapped your sister Patricia when she discovered the chain she had. But I was surprised to find out that Patricia wasn't one of the Cosmos Knights and was just an ordinary human. That's why I released her. However, I've been watching her ever since to find out who the real owner of the chain is, so I can hunt them down and take their power. That's why your sister has kept her distance from you and doesn't try to get close, to ensure no one knows your location and to keep you safe from Gurad's threat." She then adds, "After some time, Gurad needed power to survive, so she decided to eliminate me and kill me. However, when Almond found out about her plan, he took me and fled as quickly as possible. At that moment, Athena asked Seiya to protect her and to try to control her if, at any time, she couldn't manage her power. Seiya assured her not to worry. While they were talking, they saw a ship belonging to Gurad and her guards approaching. They quickly rushed back to the castle to protect Almond, but they were too late. The guards had already breached the castle and a massacre had begun. Led by Cassios, the guards managed to defeat Almond's protectors. When Cassios was about to kill Almond, Gurad arrived and ordered Cassios to leave them alone, wanting to be with Almond in private. Meanwhile, Mylok rushed to get to the plane, but he saw that it was surrounded by guards. He drew his gun and began taking them out with his powerful shots. In the castle, Gurad was blaming Almond for taking Athena and running away with her in the past. Almond tried to explain that Athena never intended to destroy anything, and everything that happened was beyond her control. He did what he did to protect her. Just as Seiya and Athena arrived, Gurad noticed them. Before Gurad could do anything, Almond threatened to blow up the castle with everyone inside if she tried to harm Athena. However, Gurad wasn't concerned and called for Cassios, who started beating Almond until he was thrown to the ground, destroying the detonation device in the process. Gurad then ordered Cassios to capture Athena and kill Seiya. Meanwhile, Mylok successfully took out Gurad's guards, boarded the plane, and escaped before more guards could catch him. Cassios and Seiya engaged in a fierce battle, with Seiya finally able to tap into his true power. However, his strength wasn't enough to defeat Cassios, who eventually overwhelmed Seiya, leaving him unconscious on the ground. Despite his injuries, Almond managed to gather enough strength to activate a bomb and threw it at Gurad. Gurad quickly fled the place, boarding the plane just before a massive explosion erupted, destroying the castle. The explosion left everything around the castle in ruins. Before losing consciousness, Seiya saw Cassios and the guards capturing Athena, who had also lost consciousness, and taking her aboard the plane. In Gurad's castle, Athena was strapped to the machines designed to drain her energy. Gurad ordered Nero to begin extracting her energy. As soon as the process started, Athena was in excruciating pain, unable to bear or control her power. Meanwhile, Seiya and Mylok were stunned by everything that had happened. Seiya, trying to muster his strength again, had a vision of Marin, who appeared and told him that in order to unlock his full potential, he first needed to understand what he was truly fighting against. Seiya realized that his greatest enemy was himself, and that he needed to overcome his own doubts and fears. In his vision, he saw himself as a child, and reassured his younger self, saying that they weren't to blame for Patricia's kidnapping, and that with their power, they could restore everything to the way it was before. Snapping out of his memories, Seiya, now determined, gathered his strength and, along with Mylok, headed towards Gurad's castle to rescue Athena from death and put an end to Gurad's reign once and for all. As they flew towards Gurad's castle, the defenses activated, unleashing a barrage of fire on the aircraft. The plane took heavy damage, and Mylok instructed Seiya to jump. Before leaping out, Seiya summoned his strength and his chain glowed as he transformed into the Pegasus Knight. He launched himself towards the castle, destroying every soldier that tried to stop him. When he finally faced Cassios, Seiya defeated him with a single, powerful strike. Inside the castle, Gurad began to feel pity for Athena, who was in immense pain as her energy was being drained. For the first time, Gurad's heart softened, and she ordered Nero to stop the process and disconnect the machines. However, Nero refused, telling her that the procedure was nearly complete. When Gurad tried to stop the machines herself with the help of her guards, Nero revealed his true nature. He transformed, shedding his human guise to reveal his true form as the Phoenix Knight. Nero easily destroyed the guards and confronted Gurat, overpowering her and beginning to drain the energy she had been using to sustain herself. Just as Gurat was on the verge of death, Seiya burst into the place, having fought his way through the castle. He arrived just in time to save Athena. The real battle between Seiya and Nero began, their powers clashing with such intensity that they burst out of the laboratory and continued their fight on the rooftop. They both gathered all their strength and collided in a massive explosion that destroyed the rooftop, sending them crashing back into the lab. During the chaos, Gurat managed to disconnect the machines from Athena, and Athena, now fully in control of her powers, transformed into Athena, the goddess of war and wisdom. Nero, intent on killing her, charged at Athena, but her immense power caused his armor to disintegrate, ultimately leading to his death. The entire place started to collapse, with everything around them being destroyed. Seiya quickly gathered his remaining strength and approached Athena, trying to calm her down as she had asked him to do if she ever lost control. He reminded her that she was no longer just the goddess of war, but that she had chosen to protect humanity, urging her to preserve her energy and stop what she was doing. Despite his armor being shattered and being on the verge of death, Seiya didn't give up. He got close to her, confessing that he loved her. This made Athena happy and she calmed down, gaining control over her powers to save the planet and humanity. Afterward, Athena briefly lost consciousness but soon woke up, returning to her normal self. She thanked Seiya for keeping his promise and helping her regain control over her power to protect the planet. Athena then approached Gurat, who was on the verge of death, and Gurat asked for Athena's forgiveness for all the mistakes she had done to her, admitting she was wrong and had betrayed her since childhood. Athena placed her hands on Gurat's heart, transferring energy and healing her wounds, bringing her back to life. Athena and Seiya then met with Mylok, and they boarded his plane to return home. While sitting on the Silver Knight's island, Athena told Seiya that because she had used her power, the kings would return to fight her, aiming to destroy her. She explained that they needed to gather as many Cosmo Knights as possible to win the war and protect humanity and the planet. Seiya assured her that he would always stand by her side, ready to do whatever she needed. Finally, Athena told Seiya that now is the time to search for his sister Patricia, as the reason that kept them apart had been resolved.